In this video, we will go through the basics of Armature's objects in Blender. So first of all, you can see that here you have an object Armature. And what it gives you, it's a bone here. So here we have a bone. So it's this kind of shape that you will have. And you will have an Armature here tab and a bone tab. Okay, it's specific to the armatures, this. So first of all, let's see a little how it works in edit mode. When you go in edit mode in armatures, you can select the tip, the top of the bone and the bottom of the bone and the middle of the bone. You can still rotate, scale, you can still move with grab, okay? And you can extrude as well. So if you select one of the extremities like this and make a E like that, you will see that you will create a new bone, okay? So this bone chain will act after in pose mode. You know that there is a pose mode, as we did in the animation section. We did see how to play with pose modes in Armature. So you have edit mode, object mode, and pose mode for armatures. So now it's there that you will pose your armature. This will stay always the same in edit mode, but when you play with pose mode, so imagine that you have a character and that you move it like this, you can see that in edit mode I still have the same original location of my armature. So here you will have the possibility to pose it. You can notice that as this one is the child of this one, and this one is the parent of this one is the parent of this one, etc. When I make a rotation of this, the entire chain will move after the parenting effect, okay? And this here, you can imagine this as an arrow, and this arrow shows the direction of the parenting, okay? So this is important. When you want to create an armature in edit mode like this, let's say I will remove all these ones, okay? And you can play with the X is here option, the X symmetry option. But in that case, for example, let's say I want to create a character armature. So basically, I will make the spine first. Okay, so I will go in front view and in orthographic, and I will make a few easy just to create, let's say, a kind of spine like this. Okay, and from this spine after, you will have the shoulders that will come here, and then you will have the arms and etc. But if you make just an extrusion like this, it will not come out the other side, okay? When you want to make a separation, you have to make a Shift E. So not E, but Shift E. And in that case, it will create both the left and the right side, okay? So I can go to my shoulders, for example, here, let's say, and then extrude the arm, forearm, the hands, okay? And I will start to have a basic rig like this. You can notice in the bone sections here that the bones have a name, and these names are important, especially when you have the left here for the L and the R for the right, okay? So it's important this, because when you will make a pose, for example, in pose mode now, if I come back to pose mode, so let's say I make a pose to this arm like this, okay? And let's say I would like to create exactly the same pose into the other side. If they are well renamed with the .l in the end and .r, and they have the same name, so it will work to make this kind of thing. Control C, Control Shift V, and you will invert the pose into the other side, okay? So it can be very useful, and you can play with that only with one bone, for example, if you want to make a specific pose like this, okay? And just this one will have a specific pose, let's say Control C, Control Shift V, and this one will have the same pose. So this is important to understand this. When you create armatures, if you rename everything, sometimes it's useful to rename all the bones by their name, arm for arm, etc. Sometimes you can deal without it because it takes some time to rename everything. But honestly, after you will have maybe to manage some constraints. We will see that in the end of this chapter. To let's say that this bone will move and will make another bone move, for example, just an example, it can be a constraint like this. It's important to rename the bones. In that case, it's really more intuitive to find out after into the list of the bones, okay? You can tell into the bone section here which bone is the parent of who. So it's here in the relationships. Bones are like humans, they have relations, it seems. So, okay, you have a parent here, and this parent is this one, okay? So you can see the name over there, okay? And here, this one it was the parent of this one, okay? So it just tells this, and in edit mode, you can change it. So let's say you want, for example, to have different parenting, like for example, I don't know, maybe that one will be the child of that one. You can just change the name here, and in edit mode you can change the name into the list of the bones. And that's why it's important to rename, because sometimes you just have a bone 00300. So yeah, it's a little complicated to manage, you can imagine that. After here, the relations, you have the possibilities here to tell if this bone deform the object or not. You can imagine the character that will be deformed by a bone, and maybe some bones will not deform the character, they will just be controllers. And in that case, you just remove the deform option over there. Okay, like this, it will not deform the object that is parented to. We will see the parenting in the next video, actually. Here you have a few possibilities to have visualizations of the bone. You can create some collections inside the armature, okay? It's specific collection. For example, let's say you will have the arms or everything that is left, okay? So you select everything that is left, you add this, okay? And you assign the bones and you rename this to left, for example, okay? And you assign the bones to the left side. And now you can make the same for the right, create a new here, a new collection over there. You assign this, and now you can hide, okay? If you need, you can hide whatever you need to hide, okay? So that's why it's important here. You can organize your bones, sometimes can be very useful, okay? So that's it for basically the armature. One thing that I want to show you as well, yeah, it's the display, the viewport display. So let's say you have an object that you want to rig, for example, whatever object that you want to rig. And when I talk about rigging, it creates a relationship between the body and the armature, okay? So, and okay, let's say you have an object that you want to rig like that, and you cannot see the armature under. So what you can do into the options here, you can just enable in front. Sometimes it's good to have the axis, the local axis of each bones, and you can enable that as well, okay? This is important. And you have different ways to show the armature. Like for example, here is just the octahedral, the basic one and the one that is the most useful. But sometimes when you create a big bone, it takes a lot of space. Like for example, let's imagine I just create a big bone from this here and make a E like that. Okay, it will take a lot of space. Maybe even make Shift E like that. Okay, I have a big bone, it takes a lot of space and I cannot see really well what's happening in some cases, okay? So in that case, you see this bone almost disappear, for example. In that case, you can change the display here and you have the stick, okay? So you don't have the directions for this one, but it's very low in terms of space that it takes into the interface. Okay, you can select the B-bone. The B-bone has a very good option. It's this one, okay? With Control-Alt-S, sorry, it's not Control-Alt-S. I will go to the bones here, and let's go into the transforms. Scale B-bone, okay, the shortcut disappears into this version, so you can scale the B-bone as you want, okay? So like this, you can just create some parts that are thick and some parts that are thin, and like this you will it's just visualization, it's just for your own comfort. It will not change the interaction between the skeleton and the object itself that will be parented. Then after you have the envelope mode, so it's an old style, shows the envelope and the influence. Honestly, I don't use it that much. It takes a lot of space. It's not really useful. And the wire, so very low like this. You really not have too much thing that will disturb you into the interface. So usually I switch between octahedral, B-bones, and stick sometimes. Okay. You can see here some other options that we will discover a little during the training, during the chapter. And here you have an option bend T-bone. Here you can, for example, if I remove that one because it's not useful. If I select this one and increase this number of segments, you can see that here I have no changes. It's because it happens only when you have B-bones this. And here you can see that now I have a different shape. It's just make a kind of subdivision inside the bone and create more cartoonish deformation. Like for example here, if I come back to pose mode, you can see that here, if I move that one, make a rotation, I will have this kind of behavior now. So it can be good to make kind of elastic shapes into your character like this. So yeah, but usually you stay with just one here. It's just the normal way of using it. And that's it. Basically, it's the way to work with armatures. So we will see how to parent into the next video, how to parent armatures into objects. And it's the rigging part. So we will have two ways. We have the organic way and we have the robotic way. So I will show you some examples of this.